Co-hosting for Airbnb and short-term rental operators has been a huge, massive business for a lot of people.
Make money with Airbnb.
6 figures a month, and I've been an Airbnb host.
It's $178,000.
But what about midterm rental co-hosting? Well, today we're gonna be diving into a property that I am co-hosting, but also I'm gonna talk to you guys about why I believe co-hosting in the midterm rental space, specifically if you're doing it the right way. And you're probably asking yourself, what is the right way? We're gonna be talking about that today. So hang with me for a little bit as we're gonna be discussing why it's so important to co-host and how it'll naturally come to you, especially if you're owning a midterm rental. Come with me as we check this place out. If you're not familiar with co-hosting, it's actually where you take somebody's property. Let's just give an example. Say Stephanie has a property and she wants to put it up for rent for a short-term or midterm rental. What I would do as an operator was say, hey Steph, I would love to take your house. We're gonna get it primed and ready for you. List it on Airbnb and all the platforms and take a percentage of whatever your property earns. So let's just give an example. Say it earns $10,000 a month and I would charge 15 to 25%. And for me specifically with midterm, I usually charge about 20%. So I would make $2,000 a month if that property is rented at 10K. So that's typically what co-hosting is. And you manage all the messages that come through, you handle all the turnover when it comes to the cleaners that come through, you're handling everything with that property and leaving the owner alone unless it is required for you to reach out to them for whatever reason. I'm super inspired to share this information on co-hosting with you guys because so many people in the Airbnb world have been doing this for so many years and I've watched them become super successful. And a lot of those successful companies like Evolve or Vasquez, they are short-term rental experts, but they are not midterm rental experts. And I think there's a huge difference between the short-term rental space and the midterm rental space. And I believe if you're gonna build a successful business, you definitely wanna make sure you connect with companies, agencies, that you're reaching out to these specific companies like ALE Solutions, that's an insurance housing provider for people that have been displaced by fires, floods, or whatever catastrophic events. And most of those companies aren't actually seeking those types of clients. They are just listing on platforms waiting to get booked. And I do believe right now is a huge opportunity for those that are looking to get into the co-hosting space. If you're specific about who you go after and you're very intentional about your properties, who your clients are going to be, you can definitely build a substantial business. One of the coolest things about being a mentor in the midterm rental space is I have a few of my mentees. I'm gonna shout out David here for a minute. David has a super successful business and I've literally watched him making over 5 figures a month by co-hosting. And the crazy thing about co-hosting, you guys, is you don't have to own a property to do that. You just have to know how to operate. You have to know how to go after these companies. You have to know how to talk to these agencies. And you have to be able to know how to bring on co-hosting clients, which we're gonna talk about here in a minute. Why is co-hosting even worth it today? Well, as I mentioned a minute ago, I do believe that we are in the first inning when it comes to midterm rentals. There is not a lot of co-hosting companies out there that actually handle midterm rentals, which I consider the right way. And as I mentioned a little bit ago, I think the right way is actually going after companies, applying on ALE Solutions and all kinds of other CRS housing, the temporary housing folks that are displaced due to a fire, flood. Those are the people that you want to be going after, but you also want to make sure you connect with travel nurses, business travelers in the specific market. And a lot of these big giant companies like Evolve or Vasquez, they're not going after those specific folks. And I do believe there's a lot of opportunity right now for people to grow in that space. Another important thing to think about is, and I've watched this happen, which is crazy, if you just have one property and you start to do well, you'll start to have people that were reaching out to you that say, hey Jess, I see that you have a property that you rent for midterm rentals. How do I do something like that? You'll naturally start to attract these co-hosting clients. That's exactly what happened to me. In fact, the property that we're in here now is a property that I'm co-hosting, which exactly, watch me on YouTube, watch me talk about this to another real estate agent. And the next thing I knew, this woman was reaching out to me saying, hey, I own 100 homes. Literally, she owns 100 homes.
What?
And I picked up 3 of her properties, literally just like that. So we're out here right now filming with you guys, but I'm also talking about why it's so important to make sure that you're building this process and you can make a pretty decent amount of money with properties this way. On the specific topic about finding properties to co-host, I'll give you what I've done in the past. And I started building my co-hosting business back in 2020 during the great pandemic, if you guys remember that, wearing masks and all kinds of other fun things that I wish I didn't have to do. In fact, I don't even remember the last 4 years because I don't know what the hell's happened. And I'm sure you guys feel the same. But anyway, the way that I was able to build my business is I literally just walked into real estate agents' offices. I talked about co-hosting. I talked about bringing opportunities to their investors and how they can make more money 2 times, 3 times long-term rental rates by co-hosting their properties. And I think that a lot of people get intimidated by either not knowing what to do, not understanding who to go talk to, and not understanding that there's so many investors and so many real estate agents that can help you build your co-hosting business, but you have to be able to go out to them. So I'm going to give you 3 tips that you could do right now. The first one I just talked about. Head out there, talk to real estate agents, go to networking meetups, connect with people, let them know that you are co-hosting properties. That is a significant way to build, and if you can, be that go-to person in your market. Number 2, and I think this is probably one of the most important of all of them, pick up a property yourself. Get a midterm rental either through arbitrage or something that you own. Learn how to do this yourself, because once you do it, you will start attracting your tribe, those types of people that are wanting to get into this space. And I know for me, a lot of the times it was difficult to find the clients, but this is absolutely how you do it. You show and not tell. You're actually showing them what you're doing on a regular basis. And number 3, running numbers. You have to know what your properties are going to earn. And when I talk about what properties are going to earn, you have to know what a travel nurse is going to be paying. You have to know what an insurance company is going to be paying. Your Hilton hotels, your extended stay hotels, all those types of hotels are going to be important for you to know what they're charging per night. That's typically what your business travelers are going to be paying. So you have to think about, what is my product? How much am I able to make from it? What type of clients am I going after? And it should be, if we're thinking about a pie right now, multiple different slices. Travel nurses would be 25%. Insurance relocation would be 25%. Business travelers are 25%. And Airbnb guests is another 25%. So you want to have a decent pie of all these different types of clients, but you have to know how to manage and understand what the pricing is. Is any of this stuff resonating with you at all? If you're co-hosting, leave a comment down below. If this is something that's new to you, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. A couple things that I wanted to make sure I brought up. Co-hosting, depending on what city and state you're in, you can be looked at sometimes as a property manager. So you want to be super careful on the word co-hosting as a word to property management. With property management, those folks are usually attached to a brokerage. They're handling money. And as a co-host, we're not allowed to call ourselves property managers unless you actually have a real estate or brokerage license attached to your business. So it's important to make sure that you use the word co-hosting, but also that you are not exchanging funds from one person to another. Maybe the guests themselves or the owners themselves are paying you directly, and you not taking the money, then dispersing it over to them. So you'd want to make sure that you're taking care of the legal issues, and make sure you talk to an attorney, because I'm not an attorney. I sure as hell don't look like one, or maybe I could look like one if I stood a little more straight. Maybe we put a suit on me or something, and maybe I got a haircut and cleaned up. No, you definitely want to make sure that you talk to your attorneys and folks that might know a little bit more detail on the specific subject. One more thing that I love about co-hosting is that it is actually a leverage to hedge against you losing money from a midterm rental property. And what do I actually mean by that? Many people that own midterm rentals, including myself, will have properties that sometimes won't book. And let's just say my best property right now is 90% occupied. That means 10% of that time is going to be me paying mortgage, or maybe me paying a mortgage for the month. And yes, we do make more money in the midterm rental space. We do make a lot more than long-term traditional rent, right? But what we have to do is make sure that we are putting money aside. But what I love about co-hosting is that if I, for some reason, don't get my midterm rental booked, that I own my own property, I can now leverage that income that I make as a co-hosting property, or like the ones that I'm showing you now, the one that we're walking through now, that income that I make for the month on this property will actually roll over and can cover my actual mortgage. So I always look at things in what is a way that I can cover a mortgage for whatever reason if I need to. This is absolutely a way to do that. And I think it's important for you guys to start thinking about that too. What can I bring into my business that can allow me to cover any additional expenses that I might have, any vacancies that may pop up? This is absolutely a way to do that. I mentioned at the very beginning of this, I was going to give the tip that allowed me to grow my midterm rental co-hosting property management company, which I can't say property management, dang it, co-hosting company. It was actually just by going out and becoming the go-to person in my market. So if I can encourage you guys to do one freaking thing, just to go out, meet realtors, shake their hands, fist bump them, high fives, whatever it is that you do, and just say, hey, I am co-hosting midterm rental properties. This is what I do. I can help your investors earn more money, and this is how I do it. Literally, that's it. Just start talking to them about what you do. And if you want to learn a little bit more, I actually have a free Facebook group. I'm going to leave the link down below. There's a bunch of people that co-host on there. I'm on there. I answer questions myself. So make sure to hang out with me over in the free Facebook group. There's a ton of people, over 10,000 people in there that are talking about midterm rentals on a regular basis. If you found any of this valuable at all, please leave a comment down below. I appreciate you guys for being here, for checking this video out, and we'll see you in the next one.